Hi everybody, this is Jim and welcome to another Glenside Public Library Quick Tips video. In today's Spice Up Your Word Docs, we are going to look at using formatting techniques to punch up your document. Let's start. We have here the full text of a speech given by Franklin Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, in January of 1941. And this assumes that I'm going to talk about this with my speech class, and we're going to analyze it, maybe go through it line by line. And the full text is in black. The red are some highlights that I've added, or actually they're just sections that I've added. I've divided this speech up into 6 different sections that we can talk about. So how can I make this a little bit easier for my students to use? Well, first of all, these sections really lend themselves to becoming what are called headings in Word. And it's very simple to create headings. From the Home tab, we simply choose a heading style. 1 or 2 is just size. I'm going to choose heading 1. And notice over here in the navigation pane, it creates a table of contents, essentially a navigation. If I scroll down to the next one, heading 1 again. Again, these are not sequential. It's not like the previous one was heading 1, this is 2, that's 3. It just defines a particular style. And notice that I can go backward and forward as links within the document. Now, let's say I'm interested in saying, we're going to print this out so that you can make marks on it as we speak. So keep a copy both in print and electronically. Currently, we're set up to print with 1-inch margins all around, but I want to be able to print it so that it fits easily into a 3-ring binder. I'm going to go to the Layout section. Layout has everything we can need to actually affect changes to our document, whether it be margins, page orientation, pardon me. I'm going to stick with portrait in this case. If we need to do columns, we can do columns. We're not going to do that here, but we could. Let's start with margins. I have set up one already, but I'm going to choose the default mirrored. So mirrored says that we're going to print this back to back, and there'll be a little extra space for something like a 3-ring binder insertion. But I don't think this is enough. This is a 1.25 inch, a 1.25 inch margin. I want a 2, and you can see I've already created one, but I'll show you how I customized it. I chose custom margins, and where it said 1.25, I'm just going to say, no, let's make it 2 inches, and OK. And now, every time these print back to back, it'll be easy to 3-punch and plug them in. A couple of other things I can do here. If I go to hyphenation, currently I'm set to none, which is good, but I might have the document sent to automatic hyphenation. So Word does a pretty good job of hyphenating words properly. Continued, not bad. We would never hyphenate American. Some of these others are fine, but just to make it a little easier for students to read, I'm going to say now let's turn off hyphenation. Also, since we're going to be analyzing a speech line by line, let's give it line numbers. Here, and I'm going to make them continuous. And we see, we just keep going down. Notice every so often I may have to do some cleanup. For example, I've got a blank line stuck in here that I don't really need. Also, should I number my headers? Probably not. So I'm going to click on this, and this is a paragraph to Word. So I'm going to go to hyphenation. Oh, sorry, I'm going to go to line numbers and say suppress for current paragraph, and then adjust my line numbers, and then I can go and do this for any other headers that I might have. Line numbers, suppress for current paragraph. Notice, by the way, I'm not crazy about some of these breaks. I'd like to have each of these headers on its own page, starting on its own page. So the first one I'm fine with. Let's go to my next one. And from the Layout tab, I'm going to go to Breaks. And I've either got page breaks, but I'm going to do section breaks, which would allow me to create any special formatting that I might need. In this case, however, I will choose a next page. So in other words, this page ends, new section begins on a new page, and of course I would just keep doing that as I needed to do so. Breaks, section break, oh, better make sure I make that a header as well, etc., etc. And then, of course, I need to go back here and say suppress. So I've got to do a little bit of cleanup, blank lines, etc. But by and large, I can come up with something that's really easy to read and easy to use for our class discussion. So let's take a look at a completed version. So this is the one I'm going to pass out to my students. I've added a title page, which has not only the title and subtitle of the speech, but also a selection of the series of 4 paintings that illustrated the 4 freedoms that was painted by Norman Rockwell in 1943. Notice I've given a header here. If I want to insert a header, it's really simple. I go to Insert, Header or Footer, or I can do Edit Header at this point. And notice I have inserted a graphic, which you can do in headers. I inserted a shape and then added text to it and simply inserted a line number or a page number, excuse me. And now every page has nice page numbers and header. Notice, by the way, that while I am in my headers, I can't type down here in the body of my document. If I close header and footer, I can. A quick way to switch between the two, double-click in the header or the footer, double-click back to the body. Notice the 4 freedoms down here? The speech takes its name from this tiny section at the very end where he talks about the 4 freedoms themselves. And what I've done here is given it some paragraph effects. So I highlighted all of these and said that I wanted borders and that I wanted to do a shape fill. So that's my way of highlighting. So at this point, I have a really nice document that I can print out, give to my students, and it will be our class discussion material. Thanks very much for watching.